I wanted to finish with my story. Well, I had attended that session because I really did want to hear from the fire service leaders about what they thought of this new research that was out there. I had having prepared for this lecture, basically, reading through a lot of the documentation that Dan had published, as well as Steve, and I had numerous conversations with these guys as well before that FDIC in 2012. I had talked to Tim Marinar. I had talked to a bunch of people. You know, and I was trying to stay up on it because I'm part of the Fireground Survival Group. We want to make sure that all of this information is included within that curriculum. So as I was sitting there, and the conversation turned to the research that was being done and the negative vibe that was being put out there by the presenters, I was sitting there thinking, damn, are you serious? Like, have they not read the research? And I was starting to get a little agitated in my seat. Meanwhile, people all around me started cheering as if it was some sort of religious revival. So I'm sitting there thinking, did I come into the wrong church? I mean, this is odd to me. Am I missing something? Am I not reading the information correctly? That they all think it's a bunch of crap. But I'm sitting in the seat thinking, no, this is right on. This is what we need to know. This is science, and we need to apply it in the field. So I walked away from that lecture thinking, I bet you other folks within my own fire department feel the same way that they do. And if we are going to implement this within the Los Angeles County Fire Department, we are going to have to be very sensitive to these feelings, to this emotional topic. And it has to be, you know, nuanced in such that it reaches people just in the right way. So the first thing we did is we knew that, see this thing right here? All those books. All of you have a stack of policies, procedures, and guidelines, right? And you're required to know all of those perfectly as you perform on every single emergency, right? Right. We all try to do that. It's impossible to remember all of that stuff. Well, it's also very difficult to include new information into our SOGs. Does it take a week for any of your organizations to do something like that? Heck no. Does it take a month? No way. Does it take 6 months? Maybe. Does it take a year? Probably, right? It takes a long time to make a change to policy, to manuals. And it's rightfully so. It's part of the bureaucracy. But nonetheless, we have to be a little quicker at getting information out there, especially as significant as this information is. This will change the way you do business in some of your fire departments. It did ours because we were very aggressive with vertical ventilation. And we never taught anybody to close the door or to limit ventilation. So what we have here are these manuals. They represent what we need to do on the fire ground. What you have on the right is information, how we wanted to present it to our population, our 3,000 firefighters, okay? But one of the things that we did was, the first thing we did is we brought all the training officers in. So those who were responsible for training our folks in fireground survival, or how about forcible entry. We have cadre groups that are dedicated to those disciplines. So fireground survival, fire behavior, forcible entry, ventilation, those are the big ones right there. So that makes up, and also recruit training captains. That's about 100 folks in our fire department. We brought them all in, and we said, hey, we got this new information to share with you. We want to make sure that you understand it, you digest it, but before you come, we need you to go through the online program that NIST put out on horizontal ventilation. UL. That UL put out on horizontal ventilation. You wanted me to put that plug in there, didn't you? Because you know it's being recorded. Sorry, NIST put something out good too. So anyway, they came prepared. And we also had them look over some NIOSH reports that dealt with overventilation of a structure and could have contributed to the fatality in these particular incidents. So they came prepared. We sat them down, went through all the information. We said, okay, this is the new program. We're going to it. And it was difficult for them to get on board. But they got on board. They totally understood it. And so we were ready then to throw it down to everybody in the county. Well, we have partners, okay? We have standards that we have to, or training standards that we have to abide by. And all those logos represent all the different organizations that have a play in our training. So there's a lot of them. And then what we did is we went back and we said, okay, we're going to identify all the different training topics that we need to train on in a calendar year. And we made this big list, and this big deal says, this list goes on forever. There's probably, I don't know, it says 120 topics. That has grown to about 150 topics since that matrix has been created. So we wanted to identify all the different training topics that we need to train on in a calendar year. We also wanted to categorize them by their criticality rating, a scale of 1 to 3. So meaning, is it really critical or is it not as critical? This would fall in the category as being extremely critical, which means we would have to review this stuff frequently. Okay? Let me go through a few of these here. What does that mean? Identify the minimum amount of hours for each topic. Then we looked at how often the topic should be covered, monthly. So it could be once in a career, it could be annually, it could be semi-annually, it could be quarterly, it could be bi-monthly. So all those things. And then when should those topics be presented? And now when we were putting this together, some folks said, you're crazy. What is this going to do? How are you guys going to make sense of this? You're putting all this effort in just organizing a spreadsheet? I'll show you in a minute. Because this is our brain for our training right now. Based on delivery months, place an appropriate college semester. So now we connected with a college to help us do this in the end. All right, so once we got all that figured out, then we can look at making a standardized drill schedule for all 22 battalions, 3 shifts. So it's essentially 66 different battalions, all right? We wanted them to be consistent, to be training on all the same information, because we weren't doing that before. They would train on maybe one topic every month with limited content, but now training wanted to take control of the topics and also delivering each battalion certain content. And the reason we had to do that is because now we're going to be rolling out all of this information. All of this was created in knowing that we had a pretty big organizational change to handle. And knowing that I was sitting in the FDIC seat with all this emotion around me, which I'm trying to figure out, gosh, what is the best way to deliver this? So the first task was to organize the training program and to make them confident with what we're going to be putting out there. All right, so this right here was, let's see, that's June's drills. So you can see there was 3 drills there, and on there it says, this is wet hose. So every month we have a wet hose, which means you have to go hands-on, go out there and actually pull your lines and flow water. But we wanted to have a specific objective in each one of these wet hose lays. It's now not the decision of the battalion chief or the captain to dictate what we're going to drill on. We're going to tell you what we want you to drill on. And we're going to give you some content to review before you go out there. All right, so for this particular one, we did attic fires, 3 hours. There's a hands-on prep. You'll notice we always use hands-on because we were going to move some of this stuff online, and firefighters don't like online, but they do. That's because what happens when you go into the station and you see them all kicking back, I mean, me included, I've been there, I'm guilty of it, and the phones come out and they're watching YouTube videos of fires and they're looking at their Facebook or firefighters' Facebook and going to links, learning all kinds of stuff. So they're great online learners, but you just have to have very engaging content to make them interested. Would everybody agree to that? So we knew that. And we also wanted to drive them toward hands-on. We couldn't put online, well, we did at first, and it just created all kinds of a story. That simple word was like, you don't use the word. So everything matters. I tell Steve this all the time. Everything matters when you're training a firefighter. The images you put out there, the terms you use matter because they hang on the term. We all do it, not they, it's we. We're all part of this system. We're part of this culture that we've created. So it says hands-on prep, that's the on piece, and then hands-on, and it gives a drill code. Does there an ISO requirement satisfied? We give them a little explanation there, and multi-company, station drill, and then we do say online at the far right, okay? They usually don't read that far anyway, right? So we're okay. All right, so identify the subject matter experts for the various topics. So every month we put out 3 to 4 of these drills. We have something to do with structure firefighting in the last 6 months worth of drills. And we need these SMEs to handle some of these other drills. We put out drills on thermal image cameras. We put on drills on wildland firefighting, radios, a variety of search and rescue, a variety of different topics. And so we go after SMEs who are in the field, and we get them to participate in creating this stuff. So our challenge here is, there's county right there, big red box, and here's our challenge. 58 cities we service, 2,300 square miles, 300,000 plus incidents, 3,000 firefighters, 170 stations. We go on about 2,000 structure fires a year, and we go on about 600 brush fires a year. The rest is, all the rest of the different types of incidents we go to. You can see our lovely freeways there. They're filled with traffic 24 hours a day, and these are our challenges. So when you have firefighters spread out over 170 stations, over 2,300 square miles, and you're trying to get out a consistent message, very challenging, especially when you're looking at organizational change. So we go to our college affiliation program partner, as well as our other partner, which is the California Firefighter Joint Apprenticeship Program, and we developed a system where we can deliver this stuff online through Blackboard and earn college credit for it. But first thing we need to do is make sure everybody has online access. Now that was a trick, and there's a whole lot of background stuff that I'm not going to go into that doesn't really, but it was political issues, there were bureaucratic issues that we had to fight through. But in the end, every firefighter in LA County now has internet access, and they can use the station computer to go on YouTube and all of that. So make drill content available via the web. The beauty of Blackboard is that we can post this information and they can get it from their phones. So now you have this stuff accessible 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, anywhere, anytime, off duty, on duty, doesn't matter. We can stream a video to you right now. I can upload it, have you watch it. I can find out if you watched it. I can test you on it, all of those things. So very powerful if you can get the message out like that. We felt like this type of message was so important, we were kind of staging for it. We were trying things out to make sure we had it just right. Now, if some of my county brothers and sisters are here, they'd probably go, well, you didn't get it just right, man. You still got to work on some stuff. But it's always a work in progress when you're working through these type of things. So we went out and got that's an intern right there. And this gentleman right here is a fire captain with us. The advantage we have in living in Los Angeles, we're near Hollywood. He's got a film background, graduate from LA Film School. He found out we were going to a lot of this video-driven stuff, and he raised his hand. He said, get me down there. I'm willing to help. I want to be involved. And so we had him. We had another guy who was a Hollywood producer who graduated UCLA, does some screenwriting and all that business. He's now a firefighter. He wanted to get involved. They're all involved. We'll take you too. Come on out. We'll make you a star. TSS website. So we needed to instill some confidence in our folks that we are capable of producing very high quality material, and we're going to get you good information that is consistent with the science out there. We're going to make sure this stuff is vetted and it's correct to the best we can based on our schedule. There are some limitations. The challenge with all of us in pushing things out to our various organizations is making it so it doesn't leave the organization liable for doing something wrong, right? So you want to make sure that you put something out that is correct and is consistent with the policy. Now, for this particular topic, we didn't have the time to create policy and procedures and guidelines. We're still working on that. Now, for recruit training, it's all implemented, it's all written. They are graded on door control. They're graded on all of this stuff that they talked about. And they can fail if they don't do it correctly. If they don't execute door control or ventilation correctly, they will be going down the hill. So we weren't able to adjust that fast to get everything into our manuals. So again, we were trying to create this atmosphere where our firefighters wanted to go and look at this stuff and had these inquisitive minds to engage once we pushed out the drill content. So the first thing we do is we host some teaser videos on our website. This is Training Services Section's website. Has anybody seen this before? No? Oh, one guy. Okay. It's not very popular, obviously, right? Because you can get this on the web. All right. So we had some fire behavior stuff. We did a bunch of drills. We took our film crew out there, shot some video, got people interested. They saw the video. Now there's a little bit of a buzz going on out there. We put a lot of people through fire behavior training. That's all great. You can see there's a reading smoke piece there. So this is one of the pieces we created that went on here that talked about forcible entry. And, but like Steve said, when you're talking forcible entry or ventilation, you should be talking flow path, and you should be talking about controlling the door or the opening. So anyway, the videos really, we're visual learners as firefighters. We're also tactile learners. So we want them to see something very visual, engage their mind a little bit, and we also read books about this kind of stuff just to make sure we were on track. So we were trying to sell a product to our firefighters, and it was almost like creating commercials.
Hi guys, today we're going to talk to you about forcible entry. And this time not so much the how or what tool, but the why and what decisions you make, especially here where you're confronted with a man door and a roll-up door. Which door would you choose and why? This is the door we would choose to force entry. We would not choose the roll-up door. When you force the roll-up door, use a rotary saw. You now have an uncontrolled opening. There is a free flow of air to the seat of the fire, increasing the fire's intensity and the heat. We choose this door. We can leave a person here to tend the door, tend the line, and limit the amount of air into the seat of the fire. The person at this door can make sure line is able to go in and out, and also let you know where that door is. They can sound, they can flash their lights, they can bang a tool on the ground to let you know where the door is. The ability to control air to the seat of the fire is becoming critical, and by choosing this door, we can help do that. To check out more techniques on safe, effective forcible entry, check out June's edition of Blackboard. Thanks again, stay safe.
Okay, so now we've got Blackboard, and we've got these drills posted, all right? So we post these drills, so if I go to July drills, this is what showed up in July. So we had fire behavior, introduction, and flow path. So exactly what these gentlemen were talking about, it's posted. And we have video on there. In fact, we extracted when they were talking about flow path from the different lectures that they've given, and we've created our own chunk of flow path information video. And so the other thing we have in July, it was wet hose lay, advancing an 1 3/4 line with door control. The door control was the different part, and we give them a little description. In fact, if I click the flow path one, you can see this is how a drill is lined up. You got a hands-on drill, introduction by FDNY Battalion Chief George Healy, does a great job there. The flow path video, You go to the wet hose lay. This is how it's organized. You click on those links. Let's go ahead and gives you a description on the hands-on drill. If I click on that link, this is what you see. You can print that out, go out in the drill ground, actually apply what you learned online. We go to the next one here. You click on that, and it gives you another video. By the way, I got a twin brother.
During the past several years, the Fire Service has benefited from NIST and UL's research on how fires develop in enclosed structures. They have taught us about how fast fires progress and how much energy is released when modern materials burn. We have learned the importance of controlling the fire by limiting the available oxygen. This research has resulted in significant changes to how we fight fires. Like many fire departments around the country, including FDNY, Los Angeles County Fire Department is changing how we approach enclosed structure fires to be consistent with this new research. All of these changes are to prevent flashover conditions from developing. We're changing a very old tradition of fire attack, where we don't flow water until at the seat of the fire. Now we are saying that it's okay to flow water above you into the smoke, which we know is fuel. This will cool the space around you. Also, by controlling the entry door, we limit the amount of fresh air that enters the building, thereby limiting the fire's growth. UL studies have shown this to be very effective in reducing temperatures and decreasing the potential of flashover. The first arriving engine to a structure fire has a lot of work to do in a short amount of time, especially if you're at scene with a 3-person crew. If you are arriving with a 4-person crew, one firefighter will be assigned door control, while the other firefighter and captain advance the line. As the door control firefighter, your job is to control the flow path of fresh air to the fire. You are trying to keep the fire ventilation limited or oxygen deprived. When the door control firefighter arrives at the entry point, the firefighter will assess the door. If the door is open, close it until the line is ready to be advanced. If the door is locked, force entry and control the access point. The firefighter assigned to door control establishes an equipment pool. This consists of a flashlight and irons, forcible entry tools. These tools are used to keep the fire attack team aware of their point of entry in the event of a rapid egress. You do this by placing the flashlight inside the door and using a tool to sound. After the fire attack team has entered the structure, the door control firefighter places the flashlight inside the door and then closes the entry door 2/3 of the way to control the flow path. If you are the door control
So you get the idea. So we take them through the process. Now you got to apply it. That's the idea. Now I'm sure you look at it like, well, did they take the, there's certain things you wouldn't do in your organization. That's fine. Create a video that includes all the things that you would do. We knew that it wasn't going to be perfect. And that's what I was saying before. It's difficult to be perfect. You can't. But you have to get out. You have to step out and go for it. And that's what we're saying, is that we could have waited, but I didn't want to wait for someone to get hurt. When you're responsible for training, or if you're a local union leader or whatever, and you're responsible for the health and safety of these people, and the fire department isn't doing something, somebody has to do something to implement these tactics. You can't just wait on it. Because if you wait, if nobody writes anything, if nobody produces anything, somebody will get hurt. And it'll be our responsibility. We've learned about it. Now you have to implement it. All right, so let's move on. Wet hose lay advancing, we saw that. We also include a PowerPoint. And we have, the reason we do a video and a PowerPoint is because we want the individual to be able to download the PowerPoint, print it out, and also if they, we try to do highly visual PowerPoints. Everything is visual. And a nice thing about this is you can download it if you're in the doctor's office or something, you want to look through it, or if you're in the squad doing something but you don't have the ability to listen to a video, you look at the PowerPoint. So we even incorporated some of the things that are inside the Fireground Survival Program, where it talks about controlling the egress points, which you advance that a little bit forward and you control the door to control the flow path. It doesn't mention that in that program, but we're going to include that in the future editions. But nonetheless, it says, hey, put people at the entrance and egress points. Makes sense. We also, in our slide presentations, we reinforce, hey, you got to go try this stuff. You have to put your hands on the equipment to get comfortable with it. Controlling the door, it's a little more challenging than it looks. The hose got to be in a certain location. You got to put your body in a certain location. If I rolled the whole video, you would see we have the individual shift from the outside to the inside, and then they open the door when they start spraying water. All of those things are mentioned in that video. In fact, if you go to lacofdturnout.com, that video is posted on that website. That's our training website. You can grab that, use it as you wish. That drill plan is also there, as well as the PowerPoint. It's free for the taking. We figured other people would be interested. Go for it. You can use it. All right, so then we get back to August. This is our August drill, just so you can see. Now down at the bottom here, fire behavior, exterior water application, softening the target. This probably brings a tear to Steve's eye right here, because he loves to use that phrase, softening the target. So we click there. I'll just give you a little bit of a taste of this video. I know some guys are leaving, but I just want you to see what's up here.
Since launching Blackboard, our online training delivery system, Training Services section has posted several lessons dedicated to structure fire topics. The lessons have given us field personnel opportunities to discuss the science of fire behavior. Last month's drills included UL and NIST research on flow path and why controlling the door is so critical. Our battalion wet hose lays gave us a hands-on experience with these concepts. If you're like me, an individual assigned to the field, you're thinking, what will TSS post next? Is there more research showing how we should fight fire differently than how we previously trained? The answer to this question is yes. Let's discuss this structure fire. Fire showing from the front of...
So again, this was the follow-up to the previous month where we talked about flow path and door control. So we wanted to give them more information about exterior water application. That video goes through, it actually cuts pieces of what you just heard from Dan and Steve and includes it with one of our battalion chiefs who's got some street cred out in the field and who's been out there and done it. And actually, he goes, man, I've done things that were wrong, and so have I. So put me on camera. Let me tell the story. I've read the research. I think we need to be more aggressive at telling the story. And so that's what you see there. Again, you know, this is, we tweet our members about when we post something new on our training website so they can see what's out there. And obviously, we're going over. There's a lot of stuff to cover. We don't have enough time. We wish the class was longer. We appreciate you guys staying here. We'll stick around a little bit. If you have questions, please feel free to come up and throw them our way. Thank you.